Hello everyone, Cliff here in the shed on a very autumnal evening. Well, I've been doing a bit of buying, so I've got a couple of new bits to show you in the shed. So a couple of weeks ago I bought this bad boy. It's a Taylor Hobson pantograph, but I ain't done a lot with that yet, so I'll do another video on that later on. But this video is going to be an introduction to a new lathe I've bought. I've still got me ML7 but I've been after another lathe and I've always wanted a gearhead lathe, and this one came up and I managed to get it. Now I don't know much at all about gearhead lathes or this particular lathe, but I'll walk you through it as I've found it so far and give the a bit of the brief knowledge that I've got so far. It's an heavy old lump. It does come into two bits. The lathe comes up the stand. There's a bolt down there. Don't know if you can see it. I don't think you can see it, it's too dark. But there's a bolt down there that goes into the edge of the stand there, and there's another one up this side. And that's all there is, two bolts that hold it on the stand. Now with this one, because the controls are on the stand, the wiring comes up through the back of the stand and then into the headstock and then down to a control switch there and off to the thing. So what I decided was the best way to deal with it was just to cut the cables. That might seem a bit drastic, but I think it was the easiest way to do it. So I've joined them all up on chocolate boxes, and I will put them into some sort of housing when I actually get it sorted out, or I'll completely rewire it right through. It has got a light. It's a nice RS light. Now the light definitely works because I tried it on a battery, but it won't work through the little transformer here on the back. I can get 24 volts out of the transformer, but not the 12 volt side don't seem to be working. But that's not a big deal. I can get another transformer for it if I can't figure out what's the matter with that. But it is an heavy old lump. Alright, there was no way I could get there. Me and the bloke who I bought it off managed to get it onto me Kangoo between us, but he was a pretty strong bloke and he just carried this end. I was on that end, and it was only about 15 foot we had to carry it to get it onto the back of the motor. But there was no way I could get it off on my own, or even me and my son-in-law didn't fancy risking trying to lift it off the motor, so we used his engine hoist to get it off and up the shed, and on a sack barrow and trundled it up the shed, and then used the engine hoist to get it back on the stand, because it is a pretty hefty old bit of gear. I can slide it about on the floor here no problem before I bolt it down wherever it goes, but I've got to clean it up, sort it out before that. Anyway, let's have a look at the rest of it. Right, so this is the lathe. It is an Emco Maximat V10-P, and this is a Mentor version. Now I think the only difference in the Mentor version is that the other version has got push button switches mounted up here on the top of the headstock, and this one has got the switches mounted down here on the cabinet stand. So you got the power on switch. This is the on off, the forward. You've got the forward speeds and reverse speeds for the lathe spindle. The kill switch there. This switch, they can have a milling head fitted to it, and that's the switch to operate the milling head. The speed controls are up here. You've got two speed controls. It's got a 2-speed motor. This particular one is 3-phase, and it came with that phase converter down there. That's a Clark, can't remember, PC20 2 horsepower phase converter, and it came with that. So you've got the the gears that play onto the headstock in here, and these are your switch controls for that. It's got a 2-speed motor, so you've got 4 speeds, and as it's a 2-speed motor, you've got 8 speeds when you flick it over to the 2nd speed on the motor. So it goes from 60 to 2,500 revs, and you've got your forward, reverse and neutral lever there, much the same as the ML7. It's got a gearbox, and that's one of the main reasons I wanted this sort of lathe, because I really like the idea of the gearbox. But let's start with the headstock and have a look in here. So you just got 4 slotted screws that hold this cover on. And in here you've got the gears and the selectors for the speeds that run the headstock. I'll get the camera off and get a better look in there. Right, so this is pretty much what taking that cover off reveals. Now everything I read about these said that you should have this cover off and check out these couple of gears, because there's these fibre gears in here. I think this is one of them. I think this is the other one, or this one. No, this one, because they move about and engage. This one, this speed selector here, if you can see it moving, they come across and engage in there. Now, I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up. I'll try and do a close-up. This has got some damage right on this edge of the gear, but only a little bit. This one appears to be fine. All the others, I've only looked at them, but they all seem reasonably alright. So you move these levers about to get the different speeds. This one here goes into a little cross on that. It's got a locking thing in there, and then this one comes across, goes on there, and you can see when I get a close-up, I'll do a close-up right to these 2 edges. Everything I read about these said these are the 2 that, but this one looks like a fibre gear as well to me, that they're the ones that go for a Burton, and these 2 have certainly got a little bit of wear on the edges, but not too much as far as I can see. They also say that these forks that move the gears about are prone to cracking. Now, I've had a good look at them just with my eyes and my magnifying glass, but I can't see any signs of any cracking on them. I mean, they all look alright to me. I'll get a close-up of these bits of wear on the edge there. Right, so here's the 2 gears in question, and if you can see, there's a little bit of wear on the edge and that edge, and that's where then when they're moved in and out of the other gears, if you do it at all when the lathe is moving, let me see if I can get, see, this comes into this gear here. This is a steel gear, so it damages these teeth, and likewise with this one, when it's moving across, it engages with a gear down into, let me see if I can get on it. See, this one engages with this gear here, and consequently this edge gets damaged, but there's not a lot of damage on them. I think they've got plenty of life in them yet, so that's not completely the end of the world for that one. Right, I'll stick that cover back on the top there. Incidentally, around the back of the chuck there's that little sight glass there that shows you the oil level. That's just got to be half full, because all them gears just get splash oiled when it's turning. So this is the gear cover opened. There's the old gear cover. There's a little cap head screw that goes in there to open it up. It's got a cut off switch here, so it would powers it down if you open it. But here's the change gears basically. You've got an inch tube to drive belt here, which here's the motor, comes out of that, drives that, goes into the gear, into what we were just having a look at, and depending on how that speed is, drives the spindle. And then this gear train, much the same as any other gear train on a, much the same as my ML7 actually. That's the neutral position, that's forward, and that's reverse, and that transfers the power down to the gearbox. It's very dirty, this lathe at the moment. It's incredibly dirty, in fact. I mean, that's going to be my next job, to give it a really good clean, but it is very dirty. Now the other thing to note here on the gear train here is this gear here. These come down to the lead screw, and there's also another shaft which I'll show you in a minute, which transfer the power to the longitudinal travel of the saddle and the cross slide, etc. But this gear here pulls out like that. It pulls out for when you're screw cutting, and pushes in. It changes the ratio of these gears. It actually protrudes through the end here, so you pull it in and out through that, and that's what changes it from screw cutting to the actual feed speeds. So on the front here we got a Norton gearbox, and the lid of that is held on with these 4 screws. You've got a change lever here. You've got 3 positions on this to gear different feeds and speeds. It tells you on here about that wheel I was telling you about in the gear cut and behind the gear cover, which way you have it for sliding feeds and for screw cutting feeds. So if I whip that off, got all the nuts out. So you just got a little brass block here. This moves that, and that swivels. I'll get a bit closer in with this. There you go, get a bit of a better look. Right, so that brass nut sits in there and moves this backwards and forwards into the 3 positions. That's one position, and it goes into this like castle nut on this end here, and then this one, it's got these teeth just here which fit into slots on this side like that. That's how you get the 3 different positions on that. And then the gearbox, this just slides, engaging the gears on here. It's got an oil bar, there's oil in the bottom of it. Not quite sure where the fill level is on that, I'll have to check that one out. But I've had a spin of it and had a look. There's no missing teeth, all the gears look fine in here. They look brand new actually, but they were. They're not going to get too much going on with them in the weather or anything, because they're contained in this little box here. But that all looks pretty good nick. So on the saddle we've got the saddle traverse handle, got the cross slide and the top slide, which I've got loose at the moment. This is the leader for engaging the lead screw for threading. And this lever here engages the traverse power, which comes from this. Let me zoom out a little bit. So you've got the lead screw here for threading, and then you've got this hexagonal bar underneath it, which is the power for the traverse. And the difference between the V10 and the V10-P is you've got cross slide travel, powered cross slide travel on this as well, and this is the lever that operates that. Now you got up there for traversing it, and come down there for cross slide travel. It's actually got a dreamy tailstock. It's got a 2MT taper, but the operation of it is phenomenal compared to my my old ML7. I mean, that spins almost on its own. All in all, it ain't in bad nick. Right, it is a gearhead lathe, so I'll fire it up. It is a bit noisy. That's putting the power on. At the moment, that's running at 240 revs. If I go on to the second position, it should jump up to 480. And then you've got to get that across all the speeds. Right, I'll fire him up again and show you the travel. I've got the, I think you can see it on there. Anyway, everything's engaged. So this hexagonal bar here is moving, and I'll put him up there. Starts the traverse, and I'll take it out of that and pull it down and get the cross slide travel. Now this is where it starts going a bit tits up. Some of you may have noticed that the lead screw weren't turning, and the reason the lead two ain't turning is this. Just here on the lead screw is a shear pin, and that shear pin is sheared, and the reason it's sheared is if you engage the lead screw, as the shear pin is sheared, I can spin the lead screw no problem. So if I engage, I'm trying to do this one-handed. If I engage the lead screw and turn it, it goes all right for a little way. I mean, it's going a lot better than it was, but then that's it, it's jammed up. Now I'm not absolutely certain why it's jamming up, but it is a bit of a problem. If I try, yeah, I can turn it a little bit, but it's got very stiff and jammed. Now I'm hoping that it's just shit in there. Yeah, see, if I disengage the lead screw, I mean, the carriage works perfectly. Don't seem to be anything at all wrong with the saddle. The lead screw turns really nicely and freely, which it would, because it's just spinning into the gearbox now, not engaging anything because the shear pin snapped. But the lead screw was really, really filthy, and it was a little bit worse than that. When I did engage the lead screw at first, it was even worse than that. so it was jamming up pretty much straight away. I've cleaned the lead screw quite a lot, but I think there might be some crap actually inside the half nuts. Anyway, one other nice feature about it, which I'll just show you quick. It comes with this end stop. Just get a spanner. It came with this end stop, which is quite handy. I'll move that a bit closer, don't want to be waiting all day for it. But down here is a clutch. So, make sure on that, yep. Alright, so if I engage the travel, keep watching the screw here. It's coming up against the end stop. Goes into that clutch and actually stops it. That avoids any crashing and banging about. There's also a shear pin in there somewhere, so if anything goes a bit tits up with that, it should do the shear pin before it does any really serious damage to the gearbox or anything. Well, that's about it. Fortunately on YouTube, I can't remember who's done it now, there is a video of someone stripping the saddle and everything down. So that's going to be my next move. Give the thing a thoroughly good clean. I'll need to clean all this, all the gear train out. I mean the gearbox and the headstock, all that seems to be alright. I'll keep you posted. Hopefully it is just shit in here that's buggered up the threading, that's doing something to the half nuts when it's engaging with the lead screw. There don't seem to be any damage or anything on the lead screw, so unless the half nuts are really buggered up, I don't know. I'm going to have to strip it down and have a look. I'll let you know how I get on with that when I've done it. Well, that's about it for now. Like I say, this is all brand new to me. I've never had a gearhead lathe. I've never had an Emco Maximat. Don't know nothing about it really. I've got to play it by ear. So if anyone's got any advice or anything out there for me, please let me know. If you've got any warnings, what you should and shouldn't do, I would be glad to hear it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again on the next one and let you know how I get on when I strip it down. Bye for now.